Hannah Marie from Hannah Marie's Bakery in Coshocton. Today we're doing a cake tutorial video. The purpose of these videos are for you to try these at home, have fun, and get creative. Today we're going to do a candy corn stripe cake. I will link all of the products that I use in the description. We are not sponsored by any of these people, but we might, if you click on the links and do purchase something, we might end up receiving a small commission. All right, so today I do have my Ateco tips. It's a pretty easy video today as far as not having to change your tips out. We have mainly couplers, and then I do have one tip. I believe it is a 1. Yes. So again, I will link all that in the description. And also, I do already have my cake crumbed. We do have other videos on crumbing and icing. So if you're not at this point right here today, go back and check out those videos. And then right now, we're going to go ahead and get started with our yellow bag. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze out from the tip up here. That way when I'm slinging this around, it won't get everywhere. But I'm just going to massage my bag to get some of the air out because they've been sitting here before the video a little bit. All right. I'm going to pop it out a little bit. And I'm going to start on the side of my cake. And I'm going to just start, I call it poofing or squeezing the bag as I turn my turntable. And we're going to do 2 rows of this. And I'm squeezing pretty heavy, and you can see that I've got kind of a thick coat on there. Now I'm going to start with my orange bag and do the same thing and just kind of massage. I'm taking my fingers and kind of going all the way up through the bag, making sure to keep a hold of the back of the bag so you don't have icing squirting out everywhere and all over your kitchen floor. And just trying to get some of those air bubbles out. Okay. And then I'm going to, I like to start where I stopped and started for the yellow as well. And I'm going right against the cake, right on top of that, right above the yellow. And I did 2 there. I'm going to go 1 more. And this kind of depends on like how thick you want your orange, but orange is the dominant color on candy corn, so those are my thoughts. Again, I'm going to massage my bag. And start right above the orange, and I'm squeezing and turning the turntable. I like to, if I have a lot of icing in my bag, I like to separate it and then twist it. It gives me a lot more control and a lot more pressure here, so I don't have to squeeze as hard. Now that I have all the sides covered, I'm going to go around and just do the same thing on the top, going all the way on the inside. Okay. Now I'm going to take my straight spatula, another Ateco brand. This is definitely my favorite. And I'm going to just slightly put my hand there. I'm going to the middle of my cake here. I'm not going all the way over, and I'm not going at the end. And I'm making sure I hold it straight and steady. Some people tend to go like this, and then you kind of dome up in the center. So again, I'm just kind of smoothing out my top a little bit. You don't have to go too crazy because you are going to pull in after you ice the sides. And if I didn't want to start with this, you can also start with this and kind of go around a little. And if you didn't have one of the big scrapers that I have, you could do this the whole way. But I prefer to use these here. So what I'm doing here, again, I'm not straight on like this. I'm kind of at an angle here. And I put my hand here and try to go all the way around. And the reason for that is because if you kind of get stuck and go like this, you're going to see all of that in your icing. So again, touching here, not putting a lot of pressure, just going around the side here and slightly doing it. I still have a couple spots I want to go a little further in, so I am going to put a little bit more pressure and hopefully this will be the last time I have to go around. And that looks pretty good. I'm gonna clean up this here. Okay. Now I'm going to pull in my top. And another mistake people make, they either put too much pressure when they go to put their first, this down for the first time. They push too much pressure and they create a lip over here, and then you have to go around the sides again. So try to go as light as you can first. You can always go heavier the second time if you need to. But I'm going to just pull barely into the middle. That's, again, one more thing that people make is they'll kind of go all the way over here, and then they'll create a lip on that side. So we want to just be really light and go into the middle here. Okay. All right, one more time maybe. Okay, so I try to get it as smooth and as level as possible. And now I'm going to go ahead and clean my board a little because I'm going to drip some chocolate next. And sometimes you can save the cleaning of the board for the last, but when you're dripping chocolate, you definitely want to do it beforehand because if you drip right around a mat, like some of the icing that was on the bottom, it's really hard to get that clean look after that. Okay. And then I have a little cup of yellow, orange, and white sprinkles. I've got the I mixed white sequins. They're like the little round flat ones, and then I mixed yellow and orange jimmies. And I'm kind of going to just put this, throw these at the bottom. And these are like our little border. And so I'm going to do this before dripping the chocolate because, again, you can't really, it's kind of hard to go back on that. I feel like if you know, you know. All right. So I've got my chocolate here. I already heated it up, and it still looks pretty good. You don't want it super hot, and you don't want it cold either. Obviously, it won't drip then. Another thing is you don't want to refrigerate your cake before you drip it. If you do have to refrigerate it for whatever reason, when you take it back out, before you drip it, you're going to have to let it come to room temperature. And the reason for that is because when you drip a cold cake, your chocolate's going to go on there, and it's almost like if you think about like wax, when you put your finger in the wax and it hardens immediately. It's going to harden either too fast before it drips, or once it's cold and the chocolate hardens, it almost pulls away from the cake, and then you've got a gap with the chocolate about like that big. Okay, so one thing I did, I took my bag and I folded it over my hand. I should have showed you that before, but so I just folded it over my hand and then poured the chocolate in. It makes a lot less of a mess. And I'm going to cut a really small hole. That's good. So you don't want to drip on the side of your cake. You want to drip right on the top of your cake over the side. So I am kind of I'm going to start where my seam is, which is where I started the cake. I like to start from the back, and I'm just dripping at the top edge. And I'm going to add different pressures and squeeze harder sometimes and less hard others to give me different lengths of my drip. And I like to space them out too. I don't just like to do them different lengths on like to the bottom, but I also like to not have like an even I don't space it evenly. Okay, and before it hardens, I'm kind of gonna throw some of those same sprinkles to try and catch on the chocolate. If your cake hardens, then don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. Just see some of these already hardened a little bit. So they're not gonna get on there, but it's okay. Just adds a little cute look here. Okay. All right. Now we are going to take the yellow again, and I'm going to massage it. And we're going to put dollops all around, and we're going to incorporate ghosts and stuff with it as well. So I'm going to start on one side here, and I'm just poofing, and then I stop. So if you haven't seen this, I will show this in the tips and tricks, so you can take a look back at that. But I'm squeezing my bag until I get a nice size, and then I stop squeezing, and then I continue to swirl it without pulling straight up, and that gives me like a normal, like more like a circle or a nice poof. So then I'm going to go directly across it. Let's see. Yes, so here, poofing, and I'll do another one here, and another one here, and then here, and here. Okay, and then you can guess we're probably going to go on top with orange to get that candy corn effect. Honestly, my bag wasn't massaged as much as I would like. I can still see some air bubbles in there, but we are going to cover that layer up. But to get less air bubbles, you just massage it as much as you can and then squirt out a good amount too. Okay. So we're going to go right on top of here, and we're going to poof almost all the way to the yellow, or the outside of the yellow, but we're going to go just slightly inside of it. So again, opposite. And then I'm stopping, and then I'm continuing to do that like C or swirl before I pull up. So I'm putting pressure, and I'm stopping pressure, and still continuing to swirl. Okay, doing it again. Another one. Okay. And then now for the white. Okay. So right on top of the orange. Okay, now for in between it, you could just leave it like this if you wanted. But we're gonna add little ghosts in between there, and we're kind of gonna do the opposite of what I've been having you do as far as stop squeezing and continuing to swirl before you pull up. We're gonna continue to squeeze as we pull up to make ghosts. So I'm going to put pressure and poof it and keep poofing as I pull, and then go straight up. Same thing, pressure, pressure, pressure. And I'm pulling up that whole time, but I do let it build up a little bit at the bottom, so it's fatter or heavier at the bottom. So poof. And it's okay if they're a little wiggly, because ghosts are. So continue. And you're going to go all the way around. Okay. And ghosts are all different sizes, so mine are not perfect. They're not all the same size. They're not all the same height. And then we're going to go in between here. And here's where I have that number 1, okay? If you didn't want to make black icing for this, you can also take like a toothpick or the end of a paintbrush, dip it in your black food coloring, and kind of just dot the eyes. Okay, so we're going to just make a little dot, dot. I'm going to do open mouth. Dot, dot. And you can just do like a little mouth like that. You can do them all different. I don't know if I have a favorite in this. I feel like I tend to make him more like, ooh. But since I started with 2 different ones, I think I'm gonna go every other one. Hopefully they end the same. It does. Okay, so our ghosts are done. Now, we are just about done here. I'm gonna add a few candy corns throughout the side of the cake. I went through and kind of picked out some of the candy corn because you don't want, which I missed a couple, but I like to have the ones that have all 3 colors, especially with this cake. But again, it doesn't really matter, it's just your preference, but I like it to have the full effect. So I'm kind of just alternating, not placing it any certain way. There's a few around the cake, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some on the tips of my cakes here, or my poofs of my little candy corns. All right, now you have your candy corn striped cake. This is a chocolate cake, but you can do your favorite flavor. If you didn't want to make this, like I said, you can also order it in the shop. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and we really enjoyed having you. Again, I'm Hannah from Hannah Marie's. Thank you so much for watching.